Saturday mornings, Bob's No Wake Zone. He's going to talk to you about some boating safety and some other things and give some stuff away. And if you would, please come take you a seat up front here. Get ready for our first speaker of the day. And please welcome to the stage Mr. Bob May, Captain Bob May.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Clayton. Morning, everybody. Listen carefully because there's going to be a quiz at the end. All right. We are in fishing heaven today, aren't we? Everybody having a good time?
Yeah.
Thank you all so much for coming to our first annual Fishing Expo. And it's really great to meet all of you. Great to see so many people from around the state, from other states here as well. Thank you so much. I may be preaching to the choir for some of you because boating safety is just something you do as a regular thought, but it's always good to refresh, especially in the wintertime. So we're going to run through a few boating safety tips, things you should do as you're getting ready to prepare to go out. And then, like I said, we're going to have a little quiz at the end, and we've got a really good trivia question for you. We'll pass that out. On the chairs up here, I have left a couple of things for you. One, I'll do right up front here. This is a free water safety seminar, which is coming up on May 21st, Saturday. It'll be at Margaritaville over Lake of the Ozarks, which is the former Tantera. This is the 5th or 6th year, I think, for this event. Last year we had about 100 people show up and enjoyed our guest speakers. We have several guest speakers lined up for this year, including a tournament fisherman by the name of Hunter Bland. Hunter and his buddy were fishing a college tournament several years ago down in Florida, and they were heading out 55, 60 miles an hour, heading out into the lake, and lost their steering. Their hydraulic steering went out, and it threw both of them out of the boat. Thankfully, they had their kill switch activated, and the lanyard killed the motor, but they both got thrown out. Hunter got thrown underneath the boat, knocked out. His buddy was able to pull him out. They got back on the top of the boat, so everything worked out okay, but he's been a real advocate for wearing your engine kill switch device and also for wearing your life jackets that saved their lives, and he talks about that. So he's got a good story to tell. He's a great young man, he's a professional fisherman now, doing tournaments all over the country. As you prepare to launch for the season, some things you need to go over. Just thinking in terms of checking the boat out. Anytime you go out on the lake, anytime you go out on the river, be sure you check the weather forecast. And then get a weather app on your phone if you don't have one. Something that's got radar capability as well, so you can kind of watch and see what's coming. You know, many places on, particularly Lake of the Ozarks, there's high hills where you can't see what's on the other side, but there might be a storm brewing. So you want to just check that radar every once in a while. Even if the forecast, if you live in Missouri, it can change pretty quick. So if you see something, you think, well, it's going to be a great day today, just be sure you check it every once in a while. It's a good thing to do. Otherwise, you should leave a float plan with someone. Let them know where you're going to be going, approximately, so that if something happens and you don't get back when you say you're going to get back, they can send somebody out to look for you. Several years ago, here on Truman, a couple of guys went out in the winter to fish, and something happened. They both fell overboard into the cold water. Neither had life jackets on. Nobody knew where they were, and they both succumbed to hypothermia. So wear a life jacket, let somebody know where you're going to be. Those are probably the two best messages you can take away today. If you have inboard motors on your boat, please sniff test before you start the motor. You may have had some kind of a little leak or something. Gas fumes are extremely flammable, so be sure that you do a little sniff test down in there and make sure everything smells good. And then if you have blowers on that boat, which you should have, if you have an enclosed engine compartment, be sure you run that blower at least 4 minutes before you start the motors. And that's a good practice as well when you are filling up the boat at a gas dock, or if you have your own gas. Make sure you do a sniff test down in there. I have my wife do it because I don't smell that well. So, ask the wife, go down and do a smell test. And if she smells any fumes, you need to wait and clear those fumes out before you start. Personal flotation devices. There's all kinds of styles. There's the orange type, the original life jackets. Those are still good. They work well. They have the new vest types. And, of course, the ones I really like are the suspender models now that have the gas cylinder in them that explode once you hit the water. You do have to check those on a frequent basis to make sure that the gas cylinder is still good. How do you test them? Well, you could dump it in the water and test. But if it's been in there for a while, maybe a year, and it's not gone off, what do they cost? $1.99? You know, they're not very expensive. Just replace it every season. 15 years old, I'd maybe want to get a replacement put in there just to be sure. Okay? Otherwise, you know, you got your little tube, you can blow it up, but that's not as much fun as having it explode on you and suspend you, right? The other thing that you should probably have on your boat if it's 16 feet or longer, and that is a throwable cushion that has handles on the side of it.
Go past this real quick.
That way, if you do lose a passenger by whatever means, you can at least throw something out to them. If they're not wearing their life jacket, which they ought to be if you're in an open boat, throw that out there to them. Throwable is very important. Fire extinguisher, those are important to have just in case something does go wrong. So be sure you check your fire extinguisher every year and make sure that it's in the green. If it's not, replace it. Some of those fire extinguishers are rechargeable, and you can have them recharged. If you look on the bottom, it'll have some information there that'll tell you if it's a rechargeable or a disposable life jacket. You can get rid of it, fire extinguisher, just buy a new one. A whistle or a horn, make sure that that's working. If the Water Patrol or the Coast Guard pulls you over and your horn's not working, it could produce a fine for you, but it's a good safety measure to make sure you have that. And along with that, you want to make sure you check your navigation lights. You want to make sure that they work. Well, I'm not planning to be out past dark. Stuff happens. You know, maybe you decide to, go up this way for a while, and all of a sudden it's getting dark. You got a long way to go to get back to the launch ramp or your dock or whatever. Make sure you've got your lights working, so check them out every time before you go. If you have the old bulb type instead of the LEDs, if you have a bulb type, get a couple of extra ones and store them someplace on the boat. That way, if you get out there and you turn them on and the red's not working, you're going to have one to replace it, and you won't get pulled over. And one, it's a safety feature, obviously, for somebody else seeing you coming down the lake. Fenders and boat hook, those are all important things to have. Dock lines, of course, are really important as well. Another kind of a pre-check, if you will, before you go out is check your battery. Make sure that it's in good condition. That's never happened, right? If you are tempted to switch over to lithium batteries, there's some new information about lithiums. I mean, they have some really good positive things, but there's also some dangers with lithium. They get extremely hot and they do catch on fire. And a regular fire extinguisher that's a B or a C category fire extinguisher will not put that out. That's how hot they are. So just be careful with lithiums if that's what you're going to swap out. Regular dry, wet cells or whatever, just check those before you go and make sure they get charged up pretty good before you head out. Engine oil, you want to check that on a regular basis. Make sure you get that changed out. If it has a strange smell to it or something like that, you might want to take it in and have it tested and see what's going on in your motor. A good mechanic should be able to do that for you. There are some testing labs around the country that'll test oil, let you know exactly what the problem might be. And the same with your transmission or your out drives, any of that you might check. Your gauges. How many of you rely on your fuel gauge to be accurate? He's smiling. Not always, okay? I would not rely on my fuel gauge that much. I'd make sure that you fill up before you go out every time. And if you're out for a long day and it kind of looks like you're half full, you might want to try to get someplace and put a little bit more in to make sure you've got plenty of fuel to get back to where you started from. Nothing worse than being out there and run out of fuel. It's embarrassing for one thing, right? But if you're on Lake of the Ozarks, for example, or Table Rock, they have towboat services there that you can get by downloading their app. It's Boat US. So just download the app and you can call and get a tow if you need one, or they'll bring you out some fuel. Or if you've got a mechanical problem, they'll tow you back in. There is a membership, or it's like an insurance policy for that. You can check that out on the Boat US website. Listen for unusual noises. Those always get you. Something's not sounding right, or a noise that's like, where'd that come from? Check that out before you get too far away from the dock. Let's see. Gauges. All right, that looks pretty good. When you get back, you want to do a wash down if you're pulling your boat out. We've been pretty fortunate here with our lakes to not have much in the way of invasive species. I know we've had some issues down on the river. You know for sure, don't you? You've seen them jumping around down there? They're too big to jump around now? They just turn your boat over when they hit, right? They're monsters? Yeah. They're doing some things up in the Great Lakes to help control that, the Asian carp and the other invasive species that are coming through. But just as a precaution, make sure you wash your boat off so you don't transfer anything from one lake to the other. All right, let's see. Life jackets. I think we pretty well covered everything. Does anybody have any questions? Anybody carry a VHF radio with them? Portable radio? Not anymore? Okay. Just be aware, there are still boaters that have VHF. So if you have a problem, channel 16 is your call channel. And I know that many of the towboat services, the big tour boats on the lake, like the Celebration boats, they keep their VHF radios on, and they will respond to you. If you say, hey, they'll respond back to you. There are places on both of our lakes and some of the other lakes around the country that cell service is minimal at best. And so if you have a problem, sometimes that cell won't do you much good. So it's always good to have another backup if you can, and a VHF radio. They make some nice portable ones that you can charge up at home and take with you. They also have a weather channel on them, so you can get the weather forecast from the National Weather Service, which is always important as well. All right, any questions about anything boating safety-wise? Let me also mention to you that 5 years ago, in January, we started a Captains Association. And we called it at that time the Lake of the Ozarks Captains Association. We are now at 100 members. The captains are U.S. Coast Guard licensed captains with either a six-pack, 25, 50, or 100-ton license. And we just changed our name to Captains Association of Missouri because we now have captains in our organization that are from Table Rock, from Taneycomo, from Bull Shoals, Smithville, Lake of the Ozarks, of course, Truman. We have several of our guides from here that are now members, also from the Missouri and the Mississippi River. So we're over 100 members now in the group. Some of the things we do, one, we offer services like the fishing guides, but we also have some of our captains do training on the water. And for example, I had a lady last year call me and she said, hey, our son wants to take our brand new Cobalt boat out with his buddies. We're not sure we want to let him go without any training. Oh, I can do it, Mom, I can do it, Mom. They said, no, you're going to have some training before you take our boat out. So I spent about 2 hours with the young man on the boat, going through navigation, safety stuff that we just talked about, things to do, what you should do with your passengers. Talk to them about sitting down in the boat. Don't sit up on the gunnels. Don't sit on the bow. Don't sit on the stern. Keep your arms and legs in when we're coming into the dock. All those safety things. And so after that, we took them out for a couple of hours on the lake. Actually, about 4 hours we spent on the water. Docking, going to a dock and docking the thing, taking in front, stern in, bow in, all those kind of things. How to get up on planes so you're not throwing a big wake. How to avoid areas on the lake that we know are dangerous. Okay, we all know where those are, right? Because we've probably hit some stumps and things. We know where the low water sessions are. So training is one of the things that our captains will do. And then the other thing is they do boat charters, and they will drive boats for people. The rental companies that rent boats at the lake have been using this for the last 3 years. They give one of our cards to someone who rents a boat, and they say, get on their website, hire a captain button, and then they fill out a little form, and it says when we're leaving, how many hours we're going to be out, is this a bachelorette party, or is this just a bunch of guys getting together to go out and have fun? Hey, we just want to go to Party Cove and spend the day. Great. Hire a captain. That way we're going to be sober. We're going to get you in. We're going to get you out. We're going to get you back safely. And that negotiation, when you hit the submit button, it goes to all of our captains. So that's a association deal that we do, and it's really quite successful now. And so if anybody has any interest in that, if you have an interest in getting a captain's license, come see me at my table. I've got some information about when the classes are, and you get all that info there. So, any questions about anything? Okay, let's go have some more fun at the Fishing Expo. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Oh, trivia question. What year did KDKD FM go on the radio live? What year? Somebody guess. Low. High.
74, 76, 73, 31.
You almost had it.
75.
75. All right. All right. I've got you Bob's No Wake Zone t-shirt. And I think we're going to, Katie t-shirt. Thank you so much. Thank you, Radford Media Group. Steve, thank you so.